Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
I was visited last week. Here's how it went down. Me, sitting at my desk, watching UFO videos on YouTube. 2 hours in and it's 3 a.m., feel tingly, warm and lethargic. Can barely move muscles. Extremely tired out of nowhere despite waking up at 4 p.m. Seemingly blink and lose an hour of time. Assume I passed out. The following night I have a nightmare about aliens. It's weird as hell because I can see myself in my chair at my desk. 3 slender grays in black turtleneck suits seem to open a circular door from space itself. They seem to do something to me, causing me to pass out. I'm levitated and return to my body. I don't know where they take me, but it's dark. Suddenly bright light and I'm on a cold metal table, and surrounded by now 5 grays. Feels like I'm on morphine and I can't help but smile and giggle a little. They stab me in the leg with something, I only giggle. Sudden bout of nausea. Roll off the table to their little feet, they were wearing black shoes. I stagger upward and lean against a window. I'm in a ship hovering over the ocean, maybe 150 feet in the air. One of them, maybe 4 feet tall, guides me back to the table. I sit and ask a bunch of questions. They answer telepathically. I wake up before having the same dream every single night until today. Clarity of dream increases with each night as I remember more and more details. Notice different cuts and bruises when waking up every afternoon. Currently my stomach is bruised and I keep getting nosebleeds every morning. Random migraines throughout the night, especially towards bedtime. One of the more interesting chats from my last dream. I ask the gray alien if they are evil and if there are good aliens. It tells me that evil is a relative concept and that they are the only species to currently and regularly visit the Earth. I ask if others had in the past. It says that one other species had thousands of years ago. I ask why people say reptilians and Nordics exist.
Human beings are imaginative.
Me dreaming Wednesday morning. Grays are standing over some sort of energy grid inside the ship. It's a series of square panels with very light pastel colors. Yellow, pink, and blue. The wall adjacent seems to open up in a way I never imagined previously. It was like tin foil. But instead of breaking, it reacted like the skin of water. The feeling of morphine is present still. It is at all times in these dreams until the end when I'm stabbed somewhere with something. I ask why they have mouths but never speak. It informs me that their mouths are for water and nutrition. I reply back that I heard one of them grunt slightly when I fell off the table previously. It looks to the others, turns around, and then faces me once again. It opens its mouth and says,
We send talk, but our voice bosses are whack.
It continues telepathically.
Our species has evolved away from the necessity of speech or facial expressions, but we have rudimentary, if not precarious, voice boxes and facial muscles, vestigial structures or evolutionary leftovers as they are also called.
I ask how long they had been evolving for. It replies nearly the same age as our planet. I ask how accurate our sciences are. Do we have the planet's age right? 2 of them are behind me doing something to my back and hair while this gray alien chats me up. It's hard to remember this part with clarity, but it says that their frequent, secretive interactions with human beings are the result of world governments' malicious scientific progression, and that their own species is in danger as a result. It added, as I supposed a footnote, that our geological estimates are far too young, and such human sciences are woefully lacking. I ask how such an advanced race of life could be threatened by idiotic monkeys like us. I can't rightfully explain it, but there's a tone shift in how its voice entered my mind. It was more intense. A bit mad perhaps.
Splitting atoms so leisurely causes dimensional damage. Little by little in condensed areas such as space it adds up.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I can't help but think of the sun and its nuclear fusion. It replies that there is a quantum ripple effect for setting off chain reactions of releasing neutrinos, and that our star's ripple effect does not affect them. I ask how our nuclear weapons can affect them. It replies that our worlds are closer than we realize. It feels off, as if I'm being lied to. The creature clearly reads my mind and simply replies, to evolve is to disarm. I feel a sudden pain in my palm and fade to black.
I've had strange things happen to me since I was 12. When I was 12, I was staying the weekend with my grandma. While my brother and mom went on a trip, grandma gets a call. I get a gut feeling that mom and brother are hurt. They've been in a car accident. When I was 16, my dad just started a new job. The night before, I had a terrifying dream that he died on the job. The next day he had a heart attack on the job and died. I felt very guilty. When I was 17, I was sitting in class and called to the office. I knew my grandmother had died. Sure enough, my mother was there in tears waiting for me. I started to get frustrated at having a seemingly pointless gift. When I was 24, I felt like I was being guided by a higher being. It claimed it was the God of the Bible. It wanted me to embark on a vision quest. It asked me to fast from food and sleep for 3 days. That I just needed to follow my gut and I would find what I had lost. It led me to a cemetery with the gravestone engraved Ecclesiastes 12:1-12, with a Freemason compass under it. Not soon after, I was in a car accident with my brother. I had fallen asleep at the wheel. My fault. During that wreck, my brother and I were in another world. I remember tearing off my door and seeing my body below me. For some reason, I knelt to pray. The world was completely gray. I saw a figure in black, and my brother saw a figure in white. The figure asked if I knew where I was. I said purgatory, and it confirmed it. It had no mouth or facial features. So I don't know where the voice was really coming from. It asked my purpose. I said love, and it confirmed that too. Next thing I know, I am hearing myself sing Amazing Grace and waking up in a hospital. My brother and I survived, and I was admitted to a mental hospital. No surprise there. I became very interested in Christianity and Islam, but after learning about the Sufis, I became more interested in mystical mind states and esoteric knowledge. My premonitions seem hard to distinguish between anxiety, but I keep having more and more feelings of doom. And not soon after having it fulfilled. Am I being warned by something or deceived? Please help.
A Russian friend once told me a story of a dream her grandma had. They live in a Soviet block-type building. It was late at night and there was a sudden loud knocking at their door. The grandma got up to check. She cracks open the door and sees a bunch of unsmiling men with suitcases. They demand that she lets them in because they have to see her husband. They are urgent in their tone. The grandma refuses and they even try to force their way in. She yells at them to leave and they suddenly stop. With blank faces, they pick up their briefcases and instead of walking down the stairs to the exit, they walk up the stairs. The grandma woke up from the dream and the next day she found out that the old man who lived above them died in his sleep the previous night.
The most weirdest event to ever happen to me. I still think about it from time to time. Had a really close online friend. Spent some time focusing on school and work. Haven't talked to friend in a while. I believe it was a few weeks of not talking to one another. I go to bed one night and end up dreaming. In a dark room, I see friend floating down from some sort of light source above. Starts hugging me. Feel comforted and at ease. Don't remember what friend said, but it was as if they were saying goodbye. Wake up. Think to myself, well damn, it's been a while since I talked to friend, let me see what's up with them. For whatever reason, I didn't immediately contact him through text. Instead, I go to one of their parents' Facebook. Heart instantly breaks. Finish reading post. Found out friend took his life. Since then, I've started to look for answers regarding what happened that night. Trying to find books or discussions relating to those sorts of things, but haven't had any luck.
I have a kind of similar one, but it's mostly a coincidence. 16. Have an online friend of almost 4 years. He adored salt and vinegar flavored Pringles. I mean, more than any other snack in existence. There's a pretty funny video of him drunk and professing his love for them. He took his life soon before his 18th birthday. He either OD'd on Xanax or took pills, not sure. Unbeknownst to me, I was talking to him over text as he was dying, telling me he's trying out Xanax for anxiety. Still send him memes and shit for the next week. For some reason I didn't pay much attention to him not replying. May have been that I was preoccupied with a new school year, but at the time we spent a lot of time talking, so it's pretty strange that I didn't notice. Always wonder if I subconsciously knew something was wrong and didn't want to think about it or something. This is fueled further by the fact that his in-real-life friend, who I'd heard about often but never spoke to, contacted me the following day telling me he took his own life. Was fully sober in the middle of the day and still didn't take much notice. Not even that I took it as a joke, just barely paid attention. 1 week later, in rooftop car park of apartment building I was living in, either skating or just messing around. Nobody else around, not much wind. See empty can of salt and vinegar Pringles rolling around slightly. Think, X loves salt and vinegar Pringles, maybe he died or something, haha. Next day I receive my friend's final note over email that he'd set to send a week or so later. It's nothing too crazy, but more so a nice little coincidence that felt a bit like some kind of sign. I miss that dude.
About 18 years ago, I dreamed about my grandmother's death. 70 years old and not sick, it happened the very next day. Years later, I dreamed about my aunt's death. 58 years old and not sick as well, it happened during my sleep. Never dreamed about anyone's death before or after. Sometimes I can anticipate people's behavior or answers way before asking. But I can't control it or use it at will. And the next one is ridiculous, but it's not a coincidence. I used to work in a company that always offered lunch to all employees. And out of nowhere I dreamed about the menu of the week. In my first week without visiting the restaurant before. I was right in all 5 days of work. It's ridiculous, but happens anyway.
For years I had recurring dreams of dead bodies being buried near the woods at my house in a specific spot. One day I started digging and came across very old and severely deteriorated coffins. 3 to be exact. Did not disturb them and no pics because it was the era of flip phones.
Be a wee lad in New England. Mom and Dad are divorced. I'm very depressed all the time. Mom tries to get me to talk about it. To her surprise, I tell her I'm sad about the woman in my dream. She asks me to describe the dream. In it, there's a woman in my room stands at the window crying. She keeps saying she misses her children. The dream always makes me feel horrible after I wake up. Mom is freaking out. She has been having the same dream. Asks me to describe the woman. Pic related. Mom moves us out of that house soon after.
Had to take my mom to the hospital the next morning for a pretty serious surgery. I had a dream that I was in a hospital elevator on the 8th floor. I get in the elevator. Press the button to go down. The doors close. The elevator starts to plummet to the bottom. Dream feels so real. Like I am really there and thought I was gonna die. As the elevator crashes, I see pitch black and immediately wake up heart pounding. I pick up mom and drive to hospital. Kind of freaked out. We have to go to the 8th floor for her surgery. I did not know this beforehand but knew it in my dream. We go up via elevator. I had to go back down to get her stuff. Since she was going to be staying a week or so for recovery, I take stairs back down because I'm creeped out. I get her stuff out of car. Go to get back on elevator to go up. As soon as door opens, the lights in the entire hospital and several surrounding blocks go out. I could see around through the open parking garage sides. It was pitch-ass black because 5 in the morning in winter. Realized later if I had taken elevator down instead of stairs I would have been in elevator when power completely went out. I was freaked out for months after that. That dream was divine intervention or some shit. No other way to explain it.
Boyfriend and I broke up, so I'm sleeping in the spare room. Have a dream that I try to get up but can't find the light switch. In my dream I turn around and the coat hanger on the door starts moving as though someone is outside. Try to ask who it is but can't make any noise. A creepy white hand starts snaking its way around the door, and I try to scream, "Who are you?" So scared I wake myself up screaming and force myself out of bed. Nothing, just a dream. 6 months later. Living alone. No worries, done this before. Sleeping in my bedroom, which is right next to the front door of the apartment. Have a similar dream where I can hear someone trying to get in my door. This time he's whistling. This time I leap out of bed and scream, "Who are you?" Storm to my front door. The guy looks at me, shocked, and says,
You left your keys in the front door.
"Oh shit, I'm not dreaming. Thanks, but you need to leave." Guy hesitates, looks behind me. I have a mirror at the end of my hallway, so maybe he thought someone else was there. Hands me my keys and leaves. Proceeds to walk up and down the apartment stairs for an hour until I call the cops. He bails and nothing comes of it. Thank God for that first dream. I think I would have frozen in place otherwise. But I was like, not this shit again.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
The 5th grade me was the weird kid. Had supernaturally great luck at predicting the future. Fancied myself a psychic, was very dramatic and cringy about it. Had this cringy act where I told people, who didn't ask shit, about my dreams. I dreamt that someone here gets really sick today. Later that evening someone does barfs in class. Surprisingly good at it, like 3/4 accuracy rate. Hit a following, which I realized later in life was just people who came to gawk at my cringiness. One night I get a really violent dream. Adult man gets out of bed, wife is sleeping, gets knife from kitchen, turns off every light in house. Goes to kid's room, stabs his sleeping sons. Returns to the bedroom where the wife is still sleeping, slices her neck too. Gets into bathtub, slices his neck. The dream wakes me up, it's 4 a.m. That morning in school, I don't talk about my dreams, never do so after that. No one asks shit. A few days later, principal comes to class, with the guidance counselor alongside. Tells class that one of the kids from the class hasn't been coming because he and his brother died. Offer class trauma counseling, psychological help. Best friend of the kid asks how they died. Counselor only answers in their sleep. Get a gut feeling that I already know what happened. I do end up finding out the truth later on in high school. Google the dead kid's name. Murder self-end, father kills 2 children and wife and then himself. The only sources don't mention any weapon or anything relating to the tub. I still do get predictions in my dreams but nothing on that scale.
Had dream last night about childhood memory. One of those memories that happened at such a young age I don't know if it's real or a dream. In the memory I am lost in the woods with my friend Hayden. We were camping with our families but went off on our own to explore. Must have been 7 years old. We come across a stream running through a bunch of red clay. Think we should follow it. Stream is no deeper than a foot. Water is reddish hue from clay. Our shoes are caked in mud and clay. Hayden sees something off in the distance and goes to check it out. He slips on the mud and falls. He's yelling for help. Go to see what happened. He's almost fallen off a small cliff. About 15-foot drop. Below him is all red clay and mud. He's holding onto a root growing into the side of the cliff. Reach out my hand to pull him back up. Can't remember what happened next. Just remember crying uncontrollably while walking for a long time with Hayden until we come across one of Hayden's cousins who leads us back to camp. This is normally where the memory ends. In dream last night I remember what happened. When I reached out to help Hayden back up I saw something. Something rising out of red clay and mud at 3 different places. They were clawing to get out like they had burrowed themselves in. They had thick arms with jagged spikes kind of like a praying mantis they were using to dig themselves out. Their heads were pointy and cone-shaped with beady eyes on the side and a beak where the tip of the cone would be. Each one was about the size of a small dog. They were all facing Hayden and slowly making their way towards him. Tell him not to look down. Finally pull him up and he collapses on the ground. Lie and say I hear someone calling and we walk away from cliff area. Wanted to get away as soon as possible. Tell him what happened that night when we get back to camp. Obviously he doesn't believe me. Just glad nothing bad happened.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.